در میان عاشقان عاقل مبا خاصه در عشق چنین شیرین لقا. I hope among lovers there is no worldly intelligent ones, especially in the love of such a sweet face that we would like to visit. So in this verse, by reading this verse, we realize that Rumi talking about the worldly intelligent ones and the lovers. So there's two type of people, obviously, from this viewpoint of Rumi, the lovers and the intelligent and worldly intelligent ones, which I call them clever ones. And then he talks about visiting sweet face. So we are here to visit a sweet face, especially in the love of such a sweet face that we would like to visit. دور بادا عاقلان از عاشقان، دور بادا بوی گلخن از صبا. I hope the lovers stay away from the worldly intelligent ones. I hope the scent of the dirty mud stay away from the scent of the morning breeze. So Rumi here advises the lovers to stay away, to distance themselves from the clever ones. And then he says the lovers are like morning breeze, and the clever ones are like the odor of dirty mud, right? So that's the way he explains it. گر درآید عاقلی گو راه نیست، ور درآید عاشقی صد مرحبا. If a worldly intelligent wants to come in, tell him don't come in. If comes a lover, tell him you're very, very welcome. So here Rumi says that if you see a lover, ask him to come in. Welcome him, and ask him to come in. If a clever, smartly, worldly smart individual wants to come in, say no. There is no. You cannot come in. Please stay away. Politely, obviously. عقل تا تدبیر و اندیشه کند، رفته باشد عشق تا هفتم سما. As soon as intelligence finds a worldly way, love goes to the heavens. Somebody's microphone is open. Please mute it. As soon as intelligence finds a worldly way, love goes to heaven. So it says the intelligent, the ego wants to find a way, a mean to a goal, but the love goes instantly to heaven, instantly goes to the destination, which is, there is no destination, by the way. Rumi says there is no destination. The road is the destination. But let's just, for the sake of our conversation, it's as soon as the worldly smart ones, the intelligent ones, are looking for a mean to get to the destiny, and the lover gets there right away, instantly. That's what he says here. عقل تا جوید شطور از بحر حج، رفته باشد عشق بر کوه صفا. And here it says it's an extension of the previous verse. As soon as intelligence looks for a vehicle, for a mean to go to pilgrimage, love has conquered the summit of mountain of purity. And Rumi is a poet. He's good with words. He loves words, and he elaborates. Wants us to understand. Then usually Rumi, when he talks a little bit, then he reminds himself, oh, I talked too much. I went to my mind and ego. I have to get out of it and stop talking. Be quiet. Silent myself. عشق آمد این دهانم را گرفت که گذر از شعر و بر شعرا برا. Love came and shut my mouth and told me to forget about poem and come to heaven. So here Rumi says, okay, I talk too much. Let's just stop and go to heaven. Now, because we are recording it last time in the first recording, and you can go and look at it. We went to because I marked it here. Yeah, we were here. So you know, because I don't want to repeat myself, because if somebody's watching the videos, I want him to have the continuation. So you can go back and look at it. But in the good thing about Rumi, wherever you start, you're good, because he talks about the Sufi teaching, the spiritual teaching. It's You can start anywhere, and it's be good. But I already mentioned the poem, so you know where we are. And now what we do in these lessons, we learn, in order to interpret Rumi um, and explain his ideas, we don't go outside of him. We go and look for other places that he has talked about uh, uh, these concepts, and we try to interpret Rumi by Rumi. That's very important, because as uh, I think it was Leora says, that you read a lot of quotes from Rumi, and a lot of them the translator adds from him or herself. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing it. I'm just going from source, which is Rumi, and Rumi uses Quran, and God and Prophet sayings, Prophet Muhammad sayings. So we use that, and we go to the source too. I bring you the code and tell you exactly where from Quran is, and what is the code from Prophet Muhammad. It's all there. You can go and check it. It's all on the internet. So that's what we do. Now here he says, از خدا غیر خدا را خواستن ضمن افسونی است و کلی کاستن. This is a very important verse. Please pay attention. To crave of God other than God is merely the supposition of gain, and in reality it is entire loss. This is book 5, verse 773. So here he says, anything we want but God, it's loss. See what Rumi says? Because say I ask God, say God give me, even if I believe in God, say, which I do, but some people, a lot of people don't believe, so they're just out of this verse. But the people who believe, they say, oh God, please give me money, give me that. They're asking for other things but God. Here Rumi says, don't ask of anything God but himself, because he is the whole. Don't ask a portion from a whole. In Farsi, we have a saying, we say, if we have 100, چون که 100 آید 90 هم پیش ماست. When we have 100, we have the 92, because 100 has 90 inside it. When you ask for God, you got everything. Well, he says, why you ask for anything else? God, ask for God, and you have everything. That's the wise way of asking for something, right? Rumi is a wise man. He doesn't ask for less. He says, I don't want anything less than God but himself, because everything else is lost. And he's teaching us here. He says, you do the same thing. Ask for the whole thing. Don't ask for a portion, right? Here he says, the worldly small ones want things from God. They want the attachments. Lovers want to become alive to God. Keyword is alive. So if we are right now dead to God, I mean, partially, hopefully, we are alive to God. Let's hope. But what we are doing here, we are going to become. We want to become more alive to God. To crave of God other than God is the act of accumulating more, and the belief that the more the merrier, and losing everything at the same time. But in reality, when we operate and think like this, we are losing everything. Whoever is seeking anything other than God is losing everything. These are profound concepts, right? Really profound. The smart one is the one who sees the world based on his attachments and thinks in their terms. The egoic mind, which is ego, or in Sufism, in Farsi, in Arabic, they call nafs. Nafs. The egoic mind is a thing, and creates an illusory God, and asks him to increase his worldly attachment. So when the worldly smart, clever ones, he asks from the God that he creates himself, he or she creates himself, and it's an illusion. It's not the real God. The egoic mind is a think and creates an illusory God and asks him to increase his worldly attachment and worships it. This is evil. This is evil because if you make something from your ego, it's evil, and then you go worship it. Since ego has devilish characteristic, so it worships evil too. The worldly smarts, the worldly smart sees everybody as a thing because he sees himself as a thing too, right? Because the ego is a thing, it's not a living. And we have some other poems from Rumi. I hope we get to there. That Rumi says that ego is dead. Ego is dead. Ego is not alive. The only thing in us which is alive is life, but capital L or God or whatever you want to call it. God has a bad rep. So if you don't like to God, say master of the universe, the highest intelligence, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But that's the life in us. That's the living thing in us. Everything is dead. The belief that we have is dead. The ego is dead. The attachment is dead. Everything is dead but God. And in Islam, we say, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah, meaning that life within us, that life force is alive. Everything is dead. And Allah is not outside of us, it's inside of us. It is what is inside of which is alive. And everybody has it, by the way. Everybody has it. Okay, here you go. نفس و شیطان هر دو یک تن بوده اند در دو صورت خیش را بنمودند. Now he explains it. The fleshly soul, egoic mind, ego, all the same, and the devil both have ever been one person, essentially, but they have manifested themselves in two forms. So ego and evil and devil are two manifestations of one thing, right? One thing. It's one thing. So this is profound. This is profound. This is verse 4053, 4053, book 3 of Masnavi, which is the teachings of Rumi. Therefore, if you are a smart, you ask God something other than him. If you are clever, worldly smart. But if you're a lover, you only want God from him. Love, what is love now here? Love is the same as unity. So love in a spiritual Sufi spirituality is unity with God, which is the life inside everybody, all of us. If one is connected, he will not let go of connection and wants to stay connected forever. Egoic mind always wants more, and therefore that causes more headache. Because when you want more, the more, if you have, the more the merrier thing in your mind, then you cause yourself trouble. So egoic mind has made us unfortunate and miserable. Every trouble that you see in the world, in your life and others, comes from ego, which is Satan, which is devil. Same thing. That's what Rumi says. Here you go. Now he tells you why ask for me. Rumi asks, why ask for me? Why God says ask for me. کافیم بدهم تو را من جمله خیر بی سبب بی واسطه یاری غیر. God said, I am all sufficing. I will give you all good without the intervention of a secondary cause, without the mediation of another's aid. That is book 4, verse 35-17. If you want to check it, please, if you like it, check it, and you learn more from it if you go back and reread it. Okay, here he says, I'm enough, I'm suffice, I'm enough for you. I'll give you everything, good stuff. Sometimes we ask for bad stuff, right? You know, they say Sometimes you're blessed when your prayers are not answered. So, and he says, I give you without a mean, without any mediation of some, without a secondary cause. I give it to you directly, without anything in between, without a mediation of another's aid. Now, why people are asking God for anything other than Him? Because we think God is not sufficient. You think life is not sufficient. That means that God, life, who manages the whole universe, the master of universe, cannot manage me. We don't really believe He can manage me. I mean, believing is something with your mind or something with your whole being. If I believe with my whole being that God is sufficient, I'm not going to ask anybody else, right? So I must control everything with my egoic mind. We all have done it and have seen the result of the control. We all have lost experiences and seen the effect of ego in our life. Since we know the egoic mind does not work, let's throw it away. This mind of mine does not serve me well, so let me find another source. Let me study Rumi and learn from him. Here, Rumi talks from God's position and says, I am sufficient for you. Don't ask for anything else. Connect to me. I, without the cause and effect of your mind, without you thinking to get this from that person and the next thing from somebody else, I will give you everything. I will give you all the good things. You even don't know what is good for you to request it. You only know the more is the merrier. That's all you know, and that will make you miserable. So the mechanism of ego is the more the merrier. Even if you give ego, I'm just example, a poison is more, give him more poison, because that's the way it works. That's the way it is designed. Ego has been designed to ask for more. It doesn't know, it doesn't have the wisdom of saying what is good for me. It's like these people that are addicted to money, all right? That they just want more. I mean, if you have $1 billion, what more you want? Just think about it. I mean, you cannot even spend 1/100th of it. So why you want more? Because they're coming from, because that's their ego is in charge. It's just ego thinks the more is the merrier. Give me more, more, more. It's just a wanting machine. It's a wanting machine. It just wants more. That's all he does. He knows. So we shouldn't listen to this stupid machine. That's what Rumi says. Don't listen to that. Just it makes you miserable. Come to the source of life. Come to the life within yourself, and let that force within you manage you. عقل قربان کن به پیش مصطفی حسبی الله گو که الله هم کفا. Sacrifice your understanding, your ego, in the presence of the prophet. Choose the presence or wisdom. Say, God is sufficient for me. Now, this is from book 4, verse 1408, which is basically, this is explaining the previous one. See, that's why I'm saying it. That's what the best. This is the best way to explain Rumi by Rumi. Don't go outside of Rumi because you get misguided. If you ask, it asks you to sacrifice your egoic mind for the presence of God. When we open this space in our core, in reality, we are removing the attachment, and it tells us that God is sufficient for us. God is sufficient for us. Okay, that's the key word here. And this is pointing to this verse from Quran. This is book 39, verse 36, or surah. We say in Arabic, in Farsi, we say surah. Surah 39, verse 36, ayah 36. You can go and look at it. Alaysa Allahu bikafin abdahu. God says, does not God suffice to defend his creatures? God is asking us, am I not enough for you? Am I not sufficient for you? This is Quran. And you know, and Rumi takes a lot from Quran, a lot. There is a book in Farsi that shows exactly each each verse is connected to which ayah. And this gentleman who wrote the book was a great scholar in Masnavi. He knew Masnavi upside down. And this is relates the verse to the or to the Quran verse. And here is another ayah from Quran, book 39, verse 38. Say God is sufficient. All hasbi Allah. All hasbi Allah. If you know Arabs say a lot. All hasbi Allah. All hasbi Allah. Say God is sufficient for me. Yeah. All hasbi Allah. Say God is sufficient for me. This is Quran 39-38. Okay. We don't say that God is sufficient for me. We don't sacrifice the egoic mind. Sacrifice means let go of your egoic mind and expand your heart. Use the chosen light of Prophet and acknowledge that God is sufficient for me. The light of Prophet is basically the light of God life. Same thing. Oh, here you go. Another beautiful verse from Rumi that is جز خضوع و بندگی و استرار اندر این حضرت ندارد اعتبار. Except humility and receptivity and utter helplessness, nothing has consideration in his presence. That's book 3, Masnavi, verse 1323. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? People with ego, they do not have any consideration in his presence, in the presence of the master of the universe. Think about it. This is huge. This is profound. We see in reality that the smart ones are not humble, egotistical, boasting all the time, right? They have ego, and it always is governing them. They are not surrendered and don't use the wisdom of the universe. They don't have helplessness. Helplessness is not a weakness, ladies and gentlemen. Helplessness is telling God that I am nothing in front of you, right? Which is true. Yeah, Rumi says, "Be to ma hichim, hich. Without your blessing, we are nothing." Now, look, Rumi with so much wisdom, so much spiritual power, say I'm nothing in front of God. Now, what I should say then? Rumi says, "Be to ma hichim, hich. Without your blessing, we are nothing. We are nothing really in front of Almighty. So let's accept it, surrender to it, and let's do something about it. Connect to him, get the power from him, not from the ego, which is nothing, which is illusion." They don't have helplessness. In his presence means for him it is not valid. They don't have helplessness. In his presence means for him it is not valid. We don't accept that we are at fault. We don't accept that the mind of the ego, which is attached to the desire, is not a good mind. We never apologized to God and did not tell that my action caused me misery. You did not do it. Please forgive me. The first thing we have to do when we look at our lives and we see mess in our life, we say, God, we have to accept our shortcomings and our fault and say, God, please, forgive me. Some people they blame God. Oh, this is right. This is God's fault. Or why I'm not doing good because my family, my dad did this, my mom did this to me. God, here Rumi says, take responsibility for yourself. Tell them this is my fault. If you tell your mom and dad did it, then you give them the power to change you. Who's gonna say, God forbid your dad did something to you wrong and he's gone? What are you gonna do? You're gonna ask him to come back and fix it? So it says it's all mine. It's my action caused my misery. You did not do it. Please forgive me. We realize that we need to apologize for not realizing that we cannot put the things in our core. So what ego does, put things in our core. I want money, fame, this, friends, relatives, power, control, everything, possessions. That's things in our core. This is a sign of becoming a lover. We should really, so as soon as we accept our fault and we ask for forgiveness, this is the beginning of becoming a lover. That's what he says here. We should really accept it and and not just acknowledge it in our mind. We accept it with our whole being, just not just say it with words. That's what it means here. I, for example, am 40 years old and put a thing in my core instead of God, have to apologize for my fault. The ego claims that it is not his fault, but blames his parents or the society. Always ego looks for somebody else to blame. He wants to remove blame from himself. Oh, this went wrong because of that person. This never say, oh, I am wrong. Ego looks for excuse and claims that nobody told me, but now you know it. Do you apologize for your errors? And now here it says, okay, now Rumi is telling us everything we did, everything wrong with our life is because of due to us. So let's just ask for forgiveness and accept our shortcomings and realize that we did it. We take responsibility. Anybody who claims that that it is not his fault is among the worldly smart ones. It means that regardless of your age, you should accept your fault because we have the tool for recognition. But do we use it? Do we use this capability? No, we don't. So we have the tool for the recognition that if our life is miserable, it's due to us, it's our fault. Now we don't. You have a tool, but you don't use it. So who is at fault? You can blame others, but in reality, you have the tool, but you don't use it. So basically, we have to accept our fault. And now it's not to blame ourselves. Don't get me wrong. Blame is the uh, job of ego. That our job is to accept the responsibility, take the responsibility, and do something about it. Not to blame. It's blaming yourself is not right either. That's the work of ego. Ego tells you, "Oh, blame yourself," because he wants to make you weak, so he can run his own show. That's what he wants. But don't let that happen. Don't let it do it to you. Say no. I made a mistake. Gonna correct it now. I know. I have the capability of recognition. I have capability of changing myself too. So we'll fix it. Okay. Now here in this poem, in this verse, he changes shifts. This is from a story from Masnavi. Masnavi, by the way, has beautiful stories. If you get a chance to read Masnavi, it is on internet. Nicholson's translation is free on internet, www.masnavi.net. And there are books uh, out there in Amazon. There are books about Rumi, and the stories are beautiful. You know what Rumi did? Rumi, he wanted to, he wanted to make it entertaining so people listen and read. He made it very entertaining. He was a good storyteller, very talented man, a very, very good poet, very good with words, and studied everything. He read almost every Sufi poet before him. He knows a lot. I mean, he's like a encyclopedia of Sufi spirituality. And he mentions in his works that he's a polite man. He always very grateful. He says, okay, I learned from this gentleman, from that poet, which a lot of them in Iran. Iran is the land of spirituality, really. That's the gift of Iran, I tell you. That's why I try to do this, because I think we Iranians have a responsibility that God gave us this beautiful language and these beautiful poets. And there is the vocabulary for Sufism and spirituality is very rich in Persian language, really rich, unbelievable. So that's why trying to spread the word, and God willing that we have more people listening to Rumi, and all of you guys can become Rumi scholars and teach others. I hope that happens. This is from a story in Rumi in Masnavi, and the mother of the horse, I don't know what you call him in English, but the kids, his child, is eating, he's drinking water, and the people who are taking care of the horses, they start whistling, and the mother tells, and the kid scares, they whistle, the kid scares, and the mother says, "Don't worry about this. These people are adding work. They're just doing stupid things. Don't leave them alone. Just drink your water." گفت مادر، this is the mother، گفت مادر تا جهان بوده است از این کار افزایان بودند اندر زمین. The mother horse said to the child horse, the mother said, ever since the world existed, there have been busybodies of this sort on the earth. Busybodies. They're called Nicholson کار افزا. It's a word, as a matter of fact, it seems that Rumi invented the word, and Nicholson, this is from Nicholson translation, he uses busybodies, the one who just do nothing, busy doing nothing, basically. This is verse, it is book 3, verse 4298. Please pay attention that busy work and making problem is the result of ego. Here, Rumi wants to explain what ego does. If you are doing busy work and make things difficult, then you are among the worldly smart ones, egotistical. Smart individuals constantly make simple matters difficult, become mad, upset, complain, resist, judge, and cause trouble. We now understand that the smart individuals have the negative emotions of the ego too. A worldly smart individual has the capability of rage, becoming upset, jealousy, and revenge. They operate from the rage and revenge. If you act with anger, you're doing busy work. And if the society does it, the result is destruction. That's why we have to spread Rumi's, each of us, we are spread his message, so we don't get in a society with a lot of egotistical people, because it's going to be trouble for all of us. Every day, repeatedly, we must remind ourselves that the combination of resistance and judgment and temporary attachments will result in creating problems and obstacles and creation of illusory enemies and pain. Ego creates illusory enemy and pain. As a matter of fact, ego looks for enemy, looks for one, because that's how he operates. If there is no one, it makes one, creates one. If a temporary thing came to my core, certainly, for sure, judgment and resistance come with it. For sure, creating problems, obstacles, and creation of illusory enemies come with it. Busy work means if a job takes 1 minute, we extend it to 3 months. We have done it all. I have done it. Something very simple, I just made it big, and making a big deal, of something, right? John, you want to say something?
About what I mean, I consider say quite a few different things.
Go ahead.
I mean, for one thing, I think it'd be good to throw in the distinguishment of the use of nafs in the Quran. So Mawlana talks about nafs in nafs al-amara, nafs lawama, nafs mutmainna, specifically, talked about in the Quran. Now, nafs mutmainna is pleasing to God, and you are pleased with God, and God is pleased with you.
Yes.
But nafs al-amara, that's the nafs that incites one to just do whatever is selfish and not nice. So I just think that when you talk about nafs, it might be good to distinguish the nafs specifically that Mevlana is referring to in the verse.
That's true.
So, but yes, I mean, the whole Masnavi, they call it the Quran in Persian. Exactly. The whole Masnavi is a tafsir on the Quran and the sayings of the Prophet. So if you read the Masnavi, you get the essential teachings of the Quran and the essential teachings of the Prophet. Nicholson's is, it's a little old. It's about 100 years old. Some parts that he didn't think were polite enough, he translated into Latin. So that's a little bit of a problem, unless you read Latin. But a number of scholars these days have started to translate and publish the book, like Oxford Press and different things. They've, modern scholars have been publishing Masnavi. I think they're up to 2 or 3, or 3 or 4. Eventually, they'll have the entire 6 books, modern translation to English. What else? Yeah, I mean, and yes, need in the Hadith, and Mevlana speaks in the poem in Divan Shams about the Hadith that were, Allah says, I have everything except for one thing, and that one thing only humanity can bring to me. And that one thing that I don't have that humanity can bring to me is their neediness. I want them to come to me and bring to me their need so that I may fulfill it, because I have all things. So, which reminds me that, also saying that Mevlana from, Masnavi, it's often quoted, the bread is running after the hungry, because Allah wants to satisfy that need. What else? I don't know. I can continue rambling on, but it's up to you.
No, okay, John, you're absolutely right. First, nafsul. I'm talking about nafs amore absolutely, because it's a conversion. When the nafs amore converts to nafsul mutmainnah,
right?
Then Quran says, "Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainnah, arji ila rabbika radiyatul marziyah." That's what that's the ayat you referred to, right?
Yes, return to your Lord, well pleased and well pleasing. Enter into my paradise. Enter among my believers.
Yeah, but we in Sufism, they say nafs. When they say nafs in this sense, it means nafs amore, obviously.
Usually when when they say just the word nafs, it usually refers to nafs amara.
The reason, John, because most of us start with nafs amara. That's the problem. It's like I tell you.
Well, most of us, I know for myself, I spend pretty much 99% of my time in nafs amara.
So when Rumi says
nafs, hangs out in nafs amara.
So when I hope we get to the point that we have to say distinguish between the nafs amara and nafs al-mutmainnah.
It's a technical point.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now, you're absolutely right regarding this translation. I use it just to clarify this is not all taken from. I take from the translation from Nicholson, but I change it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I take the archaic word, like it's a Shakespearean,
yes,
and I put new words. I try to I use internet a lot. I try to make it more modern. You're absolutely right. So, but you're right. There is another one which we were working on before from Williamson something. I have the book here somewhere.
Yeah, there's two current university professors that are retranslating the Masnavi. Both of them are going into in tandem. They're both university professors and expert scholars, and I think they're up to book 4. They're like it's like a race. Who gets to book 6 first among these two? So I think they're on book 4 or 5. But yeah, you can get something a little bit more.
I have I have one of them, book 1. I bought it from Amazon. I have it on my. I have the electronic version of it, the ebook. It is from a German English scholar, and he speaks very good Farsi because I found one video clip on YouTube. He speaks beautiful Farsi. He's very good. But Nicholson, let me tell you something, John, about Nicholson, since you're pretty good at it. Nicholson reintroduced Rumi to Iranians, believe it or not, before Nicholson, because Nicholson did a commentary on Rumi, which is very well known, being translated in Farsi because he wrote in English. And Nicholson is amazing gentleman, scholar, because he, Iranians, let me tell you something, John. It is sad, I mean, Bito is Iranian too, like me. And Iranians have so much treasures and we don't have any idea. We're just clueless. And this is one of the things that, Rumi was only known among very few people, Sufi masters and Sufi, Salek, we say in Farsi. And uh, uh, the Nicholson did the first corrected is done by him, by the way, believe it or not, in modern Iran, because he was the one who went through. He did very good on, he read it so few times and he came up with the right version because he had, old days they wrote books by hand, and when they wrote it, they changed stuff. He found the good versions.
He found probably the oldest manuscript in, I think it was in Istanbul, or it might have been in the Konya Library, going all the way back maybe to Sultan Valed.
Yes.
And that's the critical edition that he used for his translation.
So he's a very respectable man, but I'm trying to change it. But John, the point is that I know. Let me tell you something. It's good that it's good to study Rumi and to learn her. Learn it as a poet and as literature. But I think our responsibility and the best way we can approach Rumi is to learn from him to apply it in our lives, because we can study Rumi forever and accumulate some knowledge and not apply it in our lives. What I think we should all do is application of his teachings in our daily lives. That's the top one, because I know people in Iran which are very great scholars of Rumi, and they don't do anything. They don't apply it in their lives, unfortunately.
Right.
But like my dad, he was a Sufi master. He knew Rumi and he read him. He read Masnavi and everything, but he was not a scholar. But he applied in his life, and that's what it matters. I think that's what we should strive for. It's good to know about Masnavi, and believe it or not, I have so many books about Masnavi. If you can see my back is my bookshelves in my. I have a library here. I have some books upstairs, and I know I have not. I'm not a scholar in any shape or form, but I have done my studies of. I know here and there, but my emphasis is to convert myself from nafs ammare to nafs al-mutma'inna.
Yes.
And that's what we're using Masnavi for, because you can be the greatest scholar in Rumi, know his word, know everything about Rumi and this, and not apply to your life. It's based off time. As well, Rumi or one of the Sufis, they say maybe Rumi, one of the other Sufi, says, I found a man, a very learned man, and it reminded me of a donkey with a bunch of book on his back. See, and what John, what Shams did to Rumi is exactly what he did. The story goes that Shams was sitting with his followers and bunch of books around him, and Rumi, I'm sorry, and Shams came to him and took one of his books and threw it in the pool. And then Rumi is one of the best of the books. The books were handwritten then. And Rumi said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Don't worry about it." He took his hand into the water and got the book out. It was dry, and gave it to him, and says, "This is not you're here for." And he changed him. He changed him totally, 100%. And so Rumi was a very learned man, very learned man. But when Shams met him, he changed him a lot. And so, yeah, we have to go. We are here for conversion. I'm here to convert all of us, hopefully, to a better, higher self, which is nafs al-mutmainna, like you said. Absolutely. Shall we go on?
Yeah,
John?
yeah. I mean, one thing though, if can be a bit, it's kind of amusing. If you want to start a fight between Iranian and an Afghani, ask them who Rumi is, and you get them into a very good fight.
But Afghani is Rumi is Afghani, Iranian is Iranian, right? Yes. And now let me tell you something, John. Now, if you go to Konya, they say he's Turkish.
Turkish, right? Yes, I know. I have been. Yes.
Yeah.
If you go to Turkey, they say no, he's Turkish.
He's Turkish. I say, when I see people like this, I say Rumi belongs to the humanity.
Yes.
Rumi is international. It's above national boundaries, John. He belongs to the humanity. And he's here to help everybody from every nation.
I agree, but it can be funny if you pose that question to some, you get some Turks, some Afghans and Iranians in the room, and you ask that question, you get a very good fight.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to fight. We just want to be peaceful. Now, I tell them, okay, one person was saying that, and the wise man, he told the other guy, he said, okay, what do you have from Rumi? Tell me how he affected you. Doesn't matter where is he from, what you got from him. You see, what you got from him, what you learned from him, what you learned from Rumi that you're applying to your life. That's what matters really. This is a matter of ego again. That's ego again. Ego say, oh, because I'm Iranian and Rumi is Iranian, so I'm good. No, man, I'm not Rumi. If I can become like Rumi, and then I can,
yes,
both. But even Rumi does. I tell you, Rumi says, you have to Tomo Hichim, but without your blessings, we are nothing. I'm nothing. So even Rumi doesn't go there. He just doesn't care. As a matter of fact, Rumi says, there is a poem, I don't know if you have seen it or not, Naz Rumam, Naz Garbam, Hamon Bi Rang. He says, I'm not from Rum, yes. I'm not from West, I'm not from the East, I am from the source.
Right.
You see, Hamon Bi Rangam, I am the one without any color.
Right.
With no color. So, Rumi is above nation borders, totally. And if you study Rumi, as my Rumi was in Balkh, and his father has had some problems with the king of the time at the time, Iranian king, and they left. Rumi left Balkh, and they went to Konya. So he's like me. I'm not me. I'm not saying that I'm like him, by the way, but I'm telling you, I am not Iranian. I'm not American either. I'm both. You see, because I was 23 when I came. I guess it goes for Beta too. We are not Iranian totally, we're not American, we're somewhere in between, right? So I feel for a little bit for Rumi, because Rumi he says, I'm not from the West, I'm not from the East, I'm without color. That's what he says. So like me, I'm not Iranian, I'm not American, I'm right somewhere. Sometimes I'm Iranian, sometimes right now I love Rumi and I'm Iranian about this one.
Yes.
Shall we go on, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so please pay attention that busy work. Thank you so much, by the way, for your contribution, John. Enjoyed it. Please pay attention that busy work and making problems is the result of ego. If you're doing busy work and okay, we went through this. All right. Busy work means if a job takes 1 minute, we extend it to 3 months. We tend to cause headache and destruction in people around us. We don't wish happiness and joy for others. If one asks us a question and we know the answer, and if we help him, we will solve his problem, we don't help. This is busy work and increasing work for others and ourselves. Lovers do the opposite. Look at the case of Rumi. He gave us so much teaching and wisdom for free. Seriously. The above poem is from the story of the baby horse Foal, who was drinking water. The horse trainers were whistling, and the baby horse was scared. The mother horse told him, drink water, don't listen to the whistlers. We will drink our water without their whistle, but they are doing busy work. In Book 4 of Masnavi, Rumi introduces light disseminating. Light disseminators are lovers who work with light. Lovers work with the intelligence of presence. They have a flashlight and see what is in agreement with the vibration of life, what is coming from major intellect and what is coming from ego. Egoic mind is the one who is mad, complains, and does not accept responsibility and blame others. Another verse. انبیا با دشمنان بر میتنند پس ملائک رب سلم میزنند. The prophets contend with their enemies, then the angels utter cries of save them, O Lord. کین چراغی را که هست و نورکار از پف و دمهای دزدان دور دار. Saying keep this lamp which is light disseminating far from the puffs and breath of thieves. That is Book 4, verse 27 and 28. The above poems means that if you choose to be a lover and open the space and confront with his enemy, which is egoic mind, all the wisdom in the universe wish him success. Therefore, whoever is the messenger of God's wisdom will confront the strangers which have egoic minds. The angels of the universe need our light and pray that we succeed in our struggle against evil, egoic mind. The lover turns on the light that all the creatures of the universe are interested in. Creatures want the humans to connect to God. So basically, what we can do, we can turn on the light. You don't tell people what to do, what not to do. You just turn on the light. You let them see for themselves. That's what Rumi does, by the way. He turns off the light. He is a light disseminating individual. کین چراغی را که هست و نورکار از پف و دمهای دزدان دور دار. Saying, keep this lamp, which is light disseminating far from the puffs and breath of thieves. For Book 4, 27 and 28. These are the individuals with egoic minds that wants to puff and extinguish the light of the universe. There are people out there who wants to extinguish the light. They like darkness because they're used to it. They're used to it. Because they don't know there is light, as a matter of fact. These are the worldly smart ones. These are the people who assume that they have the answer for everything. but lovers are connected to the source and know that the higher intelligence of the universe is managing their life. The major intellect manages all. We are not separate from other creatures. At the meantime, we are operating from a higher consciousness. Now, think about this. If we know that we are not separate from our other creatures, if we human beings, we knew, we believed in that, we wouldn't cause this destruction in the environment. Look what we did to the environment. This crazy weather is because the human beings thought they are separate from other creatures, separate from nature. And that's why they caused, for their own benefits, they destructed the world. At the meantime, we are operating from a higher consciousness. God tells us that you can become aware of me, and I can be alive in you. You can become aware of me, and I become alive in you. That's what the goal is here, to become aware of God's presence and become alive in him. But you should be mindful of the fact that you make the ego to survive. Ego does not have the wisdom to manage you. We all have experienced these facts. We realize that if we allow the ego to manage us, it will destruct our lives. We damaged our body. Our life is not balanced. Our relationships with our spouses, our children is all messed up. We started something and succeeded in it, and then we failed. This intellect does not work. We need another intellect, a better one. The minor intellect, the intellect of the ego and egoic mind, does not work. We need another one. We need the major intellect. We need the intellect of the universe. We need the wisdom of the universe. And we have access to it. Now, these are beautiful things, John. I hope you like these. These are exhibits that I made from Rumi work and from other Sufis. I didn't make it, by the way. I translated it from another Sufi scholar. All right. So when we came, if we wanted to, this is the triangle of change. Triangle of change. In order to change ourselves, we have to empty our core from attachments. All right? Because when we come to the world, we bring attachments. And we put attachments here. In order to change, we have to push the attachments to the outer, to out, which is here. These are the attachments: money, fame, this, that. You can just put words here. So we have to empty the core from these attachments, so we can get sense of security, guidance, power, intelligence, and intellect from nothingness. And nothingness is not that is nothing. If nothing means empty of the attachments. If we empty our core from attachment, the light comes in automatically. Now, in order to change, we have to have commitment, we have to have consistency, and we have to have repetition. That's why in case of Rumi, we have to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Never enough. Never enough in Rumi. Every time you read Rumi, you learn something new from him. Because he is, as John was saying, he is Quran in Farsi. This is by the way, this is from this poem, John. من نمیگویم که آن عالی جناب هست پیغمبر ولی دارد کتاب. He says, I don't say that عالی جناب, that gentleman is prophet, has ولی, but he has a book. مصنوی معنوی مولوی هست قرآن در زبان پهلوی. He says مصنوی معنوی مولوی, which is the name of the book, is the Quran in Persian language, Pahlavi, which is Persian. This is from Sheikh Baha. He's Iranian Sufi. You're right, absolutely. As you can see, in order to convert, we have to commit to the core. We have to commit the core to the nothingness. Nothingness means nothing but God in our core, which is in Arabic, in Quran says, La ilaha illallah. First, there is no attachment, the light will come in. Get the attachment out, the light will come in. Since we attach to the things, then we realize our life does not work anymore. When we expand our heart and open the space around events, but we have to commit to the conversion. Let us think about this word commitment. This means every moment you try your best to empty your core from all attachments and don't add any more attachments. That's the key here. We have to empty our core from attachments and don't add any more. There is enough out there. There is enough of it. We need more than enough. We need to open the space and don't resist the events and don't pay attention to what your mind shows. You see, here Rumi says, don't pay attention to the event. Pay attention to the space that yet you can open around the event, the expansion of your heart. That's what we have to pay attention to. As a matter of fact, Rumi says the events happen to give you the opportunity to expand your heart. That's what he says. Nothing is from me, guys. I don't have that wisdom. I'm just quoting him. I'm just telling you what he says. We keep repeating until you expand your heart and open the space around events. We have to keep doing for years until we can do this easily. An individual who does it automatically without even realizing that he's doing it. For every event, he opens the space without realization. He does not do it himself, as if a force within him is doing it automatically for him. You see, that's where we have to be. That because at the beginning you are consciously opening events, expanding your heart. But if you repeat it, you come to the point that you do it without automatically. You do it basically, just becoming automatic. This is our godliness. This is the capability of expansion of the heart, or the capability of hearing the silence or seeing the empty space. God says, I have put this characteristic. Why don't you use it? Characteristic of hearing the silence and seeing the empty space. We have to practice for a few years. Read Rumi and his poetry and be patient. We have to silence our minds and don't listen to the noise of our egoic mind, and don't take ourselves too seriously. If someone insults us, we open the space around it and don't react. That's the key. That's the key. If you can control yourself, don't react. That means you are a lover. This is attachment. This is the triangle. Attachment to temporary things bound by time. When we have attachment, which is core attachment in our core, we get sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence from these attachments. We have resistance to events. We have judgment about the events. What's the judgment? If something is good for my ego, I like it. If it adds to my ego and attachment, I like it. If it doesn't, I don't like it. I hate it. And we have attachment to temporary things, because this attachment is temporary. So what happens? I'm bound by time, meaning I have a material intelligence and I live in past and future. That's the problem. People with ego and egoic minds and egotistical, they do not live in the present. They live in past and future. They blame the past and they wish for the better future, right? Illusion, basically. It's good to plan for future, but if you are imprisoned by past or future, that's not good. If you have without control, you're just taken there. That's triangle of attachment. Let me explain the triangle of attachment. When individuals enters the world, attaches to things, and going from one thought to other creates a thing called egoic mind. This is Rumi. Rumi says each thought, it is a box, and we are going from box to box to box to box. We're jumping. He says, our reality, our actual, our reality is the space between the boxes. That space is us. The boxes are thought, which is not us. It's a thing. Important here. This intelligence is material intelligence. It's an illusion. It is something that the mind has created, and its time and space is false. And its time and space is false, unreal and non-existent. It is this moment which is real and exists. So basically here, Rumi says the present, the future doesn't exist. The past, it doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. What exists is now and here, right? This moment. But the ego takes us from the real to the illusion. Illusion of the past, illusion of the future. Additionally, the two characteristics of, it's illusion. Mind has created time to understand the sequence of events. So this is not, by the way, this is Rumi and other scientists. If you study physics, they say that time is the event, is the creation of mind to sequence the events. All the things our mind shows us is temporary. Additionally, the two characteristics of resistance and judgments come with it. Resistance means whatever the mind shows us, we want life from it, and cannot expand our heart. That's resistance. If we resist, means the event is important to us. But we have to act the opposite and make sure that the event is not important, but the space around it is the key to our salvation. So this is the key here. If we resist, means we want something from the event. But Rumi says, don't ask nothing for the event. It's a temporary thing. Open the space, expand your heart, and that's the key to your salvation. The event comes to show you the practice of opening and expanding the heart. That's what Rumi says. If we accept Rumi's teaching and practice his suggestions, then we realize that the speed of thought declines and ultimately becomes quiet. So spiritually strong people, spiritually advanced people have a very quiet mind, very quiet. And if you are lucky and fortunate enough to find somebody with this characteristic, don't let him go or her. Can be a woman, can be a man. Just stick to them, because their vibration will affect you. Then that the speed of thought declines and ultimately becomes quiet. So the mind becomes quiet. That's what we have to do. But you don't take your thought very seriously, because when we are attached to things, we take our thoughts too seriously. Therefore, if the thoughts are not serious, then something else is serious, and that is the expanded space. That is the capability that can see the nothingness and can hear the silence. There's a mouthful, a lot of information here. I hope you can digest it. So we have to expand the space. So that's why Rumi says, do not pay attention to the event, pay attention to the expansion of the space in your heart, because that's why the event came to you. The event came to you to teach you how to expand your heart. That's what Rumi says. So if the temporary things is in our core, judgment comes with it. Judgment means that mind labels some events as good and others as bad. Good is something that increases our attachment, and bad is something that decreases our attachment. We will do this until we get connected to the source and our heart is expanded, and we see in terms of the expanded space within us. Then the badness of goodness or goodness, the badness or goodness of the event is not important. Then the spiritually strong, advanced people, they don't care for the event. Doesn't matter. Whatever happens, happens. All right. In Arabic, you say there is a proverb: "Al khayru fi ma waqa." Whatever happens is good. They say everything is good. I have seen these people, by the way. My father was like this. Everything is good. We pay attention to the message of life in each event. We try to find out if the bad events happen to us, what is the message of life? What life is telling us, sending this message, this event. Am I attached to a thing? Am I thinking correctly? Does my egoic mind put me in this position? What pattern do I have in my mind that causes me these headaches? We have to see these in ourselves. Nobody can show it to us. So that's why God, any event that happens in our life, the life God, Master of the universe, is sending it for a reason. There is a reason. It's not God, life is not just a random, sequence of events. It is a wisdom and a high intelligence in it which manages it, and there is a reason for it. And you're the only one who know why this happened in your life. Whatever happened before or will happen in the future. Nobody else. Is the message is specialized for you, for me, for Beta, for Loira. Everything is specific for us, for John. Everything specific to us. It has been, how you say it in English, it's been uh, packaged for you, basically. It's for you to understand. Nobody else knows. This is the detachment, the triangle of detachment, detachment from temporary things. Now, when this happens, when we have nothingness, we moved all the core, all the attachments out. We get sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence from nothingness, which is light in this case. We have patience and abstinence. Anything which removes the patient, we are abstinence from it. We move ourselves from it. Gratitude and abstinence. We have gratitude. People who are spiritual are very grateful for everything. They're very patient. They have spiritual intelligence and they have eternal presence. They are always here and now. There is nothing but here and now. This past and present, as we mentioned before, is the illusion of the mind. It doesn't exist. The only thing exists is here and now. That's it, right? So we want to go through this conversion, detached from temporary things. In this stage, we again connect to life. We become part of life. We have always have a sense of gratitude and satisfaction. We don't think everybody owes us a debt and have to do something for us. The complaints are gone, and we realize that we are abstaining from detachments. We do not let any other attachments to enter our core. This is the triangle of adoration. You have nothingness in your core. We get sense of security, guidance, power, intellect from the light. We have grace. We have attraction. We are attracted to light, and we attract life to us. Light and life. We are attracted to light and life, and we attract light and life from others, and we are adoration. We adore life. We adore God. We adore beauty in this everything. This is a triangle of grace and attraction. We learn that as soon as we empty our core from attachments and nothing replaces it, we realize that there is a bigger force in us, which is life, is attracting us. So this is force of life attracting us. We need to keep the core away from attachment, and God's grace is always with us. It depends on the fact that we are adoring Him or the things. Are we adoring, life God or things? Individuals that worship beliefs or a specific time in a year or a specific location meaning that they worship things that their mind shows them. These people will resist the grace and attraction of life and don't allow these forces to affect them. I hope among lovers there is no worldly intelligent ones, especially in the love of such a sweet face that we would like to visit. This is the verse 1 of the Ghazal. If someone has nothingness in his core and associates with the worldly smart one, he will be affected by the smart ones, and the grace will stop. We are trying to come alive, and the smart ones stop us and harm us. Therefore, the grace and attraction stop. So, guys, it is not selfish to stay away from worldly intelligent, clever ones. It's not selfish. It's good. That's what we have to do. Please don't let them affect you. Don't let their vibration to ruin you, because ego has its own vibration, negative vibration. You don't want that. You want the vibration of life and life. This is the myth of egoic mind. Beautiful one, guys. What happens in the myth of egoic mind? You have attachments at the core. You get sense of security, guidance, power, intelligence, and intellect from the attachment. We have this one we had already, right? We have resistance on here, one angle, judgment here, and attachment to temporary thing. Okay, now there is this guy now on top of it. We are creating obstacles and looking for them. This is the egoic mind does it. I told you, remember, we look for obstacles, creating problems and looking for them. That's the job of ego. Creating enemies and looking for them. We already talked about this. So as soon as you have ego in your core, attachments, and you have a big ego, nafs ammare, as John says, that's what happens. That's what happens. You get these problems automatically. Every ego has these issues. Every nafs ammare. Okay? Let us discuss the myth of egoic mind. As you can see in this state, we are attached. Okay, it's 8:31. I have one more. You want me to go with this one, John? Or it stop here? So usually we go to 7 to 8:30, and I know it's.
That's
I don't
okay.
want to.
But no, you keep going.
Okay. Because there's one more that we can stop there. Let us discuss the myth of egoic mind. As you can see, Leora, are you there? I guess Leora.
I'm here. I'm
here. You're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. I know I'm packing a lot of meaning stuff here, but you can unpack it. Think about it. Let us discuss the myth of egoic mind. As you can see in this state, we are attached to temporary things. We have resistance and judgment, and we get our intelligence, security, guidance, and power from things. We create illusory thing called egoic mind, and all its thoughts are illusion too. Egoic mind, everything about it is illusion, itself and the thoughts. Then in this state, we convert life energy to creating obstacles and looking for them. Basically, because the spirit is like a source of energy. You can use it with good things or bad things. You can create light, or you can create obstacles, because that's energy. It's like you have a bulldozer. You can ruin stuff, or you can make buildings. That's what it is. It's energy. Additionally, we create problems and look for them. Lastly, we create enemies and look for them. Then we start causing pain for ourselves and others. In reality, the result of attachments to temporary things and the myth of egoic mind is pain. If you see pain, you see ego. It just comes together. You probably have experienced or observed in your surroundings that the result of this state is the accumulation of pain. Pains are from the same essence of rage, hurt, jealousy, anxiety, fear, and sense of guilt. If you see pain in yourself, you have caused it. The worldly smart ones are causing pain in the world. Therefore, the myth of egoic mind has the vibration of destruction, anger, fear, jealousy, and revenge. This is the last exhibit that we are going to go tonight. The truth of being human. This is what this is our goal. Guys, this is our goal. This is detachment and returning to this moment. So here we have nothingness at core. Sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence come from nothingness, which is light. All the attachments have gone to the outer space. We get patience, abstinence, gratitude, abstinence. We get the spiritual intelligence here. We have eternal presence. We have joy without a cause. We have enthusiasm for creation, ability to create. And one of them, I forgot to put it on this side, on the side which there's no word, acceptance, event of this moment. We accept everything. Now, accepting doesn't mean you don't want to change. Accept means you acknowledge it. You don't resist to it. But it doesn't mean you don't want to change it. You're not you're not passive, you're active. It is very active, as a matter of fact. Now, here we go. Let's read this one. Now we come to another vibration of the morning breeze that opens up the flowers. As you can see, we are doomed to stay in the egoic mind, but we can expand our hearts. We are not doomed to stay in the egoic mind, but we can expand our hearts and open the space around the events that our mind shows us, and again empty our core from all attachments and return to nothingness in our core. This will enable us to experience the eternal present, convert our worldly and minor intelligence to a spiritual intelligence. The material intelligence and the viewpoint of egoic mind diminishes, and we, the universe and life wisdom, will manage our life. The universe and life wisdom will manage our life. As soon as our core is free of attachments and nothingness replaces them, we get our sense of security, guidance, power, and intellect and intelligence from life. We realize we have a higher wisdom and we are creative. We can create new thoughts, and the sense of security comes from life. And we realize that another force, except the force of anger and fear, is guiding us. We create space around events and realize that the strength of life and God is helping us. And two other characteristics appears in us: patience and gratitude, that we did not have when we are operating from our egoic mind. Ego was always rushing and did not understand patience. We have to be patient and keep the nothingness in our core. In the egoic mind setting, we were rushing to gain presence, but this is a real presence. But a state of mind that happens inside our ego, and it is not real. So what it says here, I didn't explain it properly. It says if you go to your mind and you want to get a mind presence, that's not real. The presence happens in the heart. In the heart, and the heart, by heart here, it means like, it's not this heart, means your inner being. Inner being. Because when it's in your mind, it's not real. It's like still it's attached to ego and stuff. When it goes to your inner being, it's real. It's really moving you and managing you. That's what we mean here. It's hard. If we keep working on ourselves, after a while we realize that we are accepting everything and our life becomes joyous. Before we are creating problems before we created problems and obstacles, and now we are making unnecessary busy work for ourselves and others. We become creative with the nothingness in our core, and with patience and gratitude, we are accepting the events and open space around them, and life becomes joyous. Now we create morning breeze. So this is the explanation of this one. Now, every creative individual that you say that create beauty and goodness in life, they are in this state, guys. They are in this state. And we want to get to that state, God willing, all of us, that we have nothingness in our core, light in our core, and we create beauty and goodness and wisdom for the world. I mean, whatever we can do. Rumi says, keep the light going, keep the light burning, and protect it from the puffs and the wind and the puffs of the egotistical, people. So we have to turn. You have to have a light within in our heart, and make sure we bring light and openness and expansion of heart to everywhere where we go. We went over time. I do apologize, especially for Leora. You are in another state, aren't you?
Yeah, Maryland.
Maryland. I hope it was worth to delay your sleep, my dear Leora.
Yeah. Well, thank you to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Anyway,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to put this on an internet, and I'm going to send you the link. Mine is so at the bottom that you cannot find it. So if you want to go through it again, please do so and leave comments. And please, bring other people to, introduce other people to these teachings, however you can see fit. I don't know. I think this is a good stuff, really. I think it's good stuff, and we should expand this. We should spread the word, and hopefully others will come to this circle, and we make the world a better place. Right?
Okay. Good
God
night.
bless you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, John, for your.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say? Tell us, John.
Hoda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz. Khuda Hafiz. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Khuda Hafiz.
See you next
Khuda
time.
Hafiz Shama too. God keeps you safe too, you, my friend.
Yes.
Thank you so much. See you guys later. Take
Okay.
care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.